Hello, welcome to the course registration session for Machine Tool Technology programs at Pima Community College. My name is Nick Riley and I'm the Program Advisor for Machine Tool Technology programs at Pima. So why Machine Tool and why Pima? Some people refer to machine tool technology as the king of trades because everything starts with manufacturing. And students in Pima's Machine Tool Technology program study that large segment of the manufacturing arena that actually makes the parts that go into products sold throughout the world. The program incorporates theory and hands-on training of techniques used in material manufacturing. And Pima students are given projects to complete and learn on the same machines used in machine shops around the country. There are three programs offered within the machine tool curriculum at Pima. The first is the Machining Inspection and Quality Assurance Certificate, which is 17 credits and 5 classes. The second is the Computer Numerical Control or CNC Operator Certificate, which is 29 credits over 8 classes and includes all of the classes from the Machining Inspection and Quality Assurance Certificate. And lastly, we have the Associate of Applied Science in Machine Tool Technology, which is 62 credits over 18 classes and includes all of the courses from both certificates. So again, my name is Nick Riley. I am the Program Advisor for Welding and Machine Tool Technology programs at Pima Community College. My email address is here on the screen, nriley1@pima.edu, and my phone number is 520-206-7240. This presentation is meant to help you navigate resources at Pima and know a lot of different items and be able to do a lot of things for yourself on your own time, but please never hesitate to reach out to me. Your advisors at Pima are here to help you. So one of the ways we structure that help that advisors give is through an advising syllabus. When you are enrolling in classes, you're going to receive a syllabus for each class, which is really your roadmap for what to expect from the class, what assignments you're going to have, what those due dates are. And the advising syllabus is similar to that for advising. So it's going to encourage you to do things like connect and stay informed, meet regularly with your advisor to be developing your academic plan, to take responsibility for your education by knowing college resources and knowing where to find them. And then it's basically giving you steps to complete and get to that point, which is my personal favorite part in working with students, which is helping them apply for graduation so that they can move on to those careers that they're seeking to get into with their degrees. So we mentioned knowing college resources. One of the most important places you can go for Pima College resources is MyPima. You would log into it with the username and password that you should have set up when you activated MyPima after you got that A number from applying. You'll see on MyPima items on how to register, your financial aid information, other student resources, and one of the most important student resources on there is called My Degree Plan. It's on the Academics tab in MyPima, and what My Degree Plan is a great visual representation of your individual progress towards the degree. There's a screenshot of it here on the right-hand side of the slide, and it shows that it lists out the program requirements. Right now under program requirements, you'll see a lot of unfilled in red circles. That means incomplete. As you do things such as enroll in classes, those circles will turn blue and they'll become half filled in to let you know that a requirement is in the process of being met. And then once you pass that class, the circle will turn green and there'll be a check mark in it, and that'll let you know that that requirement has been complete. So that's a great visual way to not only see your program requirements laid out, but also track your own individual progress towards those requirements. Okay, I was talking about program requirements on the last slide, so let's get in a little more in depth on what those are for the machine tool programs. So the first thing we're going to go over is this box on the left of your slide here, the Machining Inspection and Quality Assurance Certificate. Like I mentioned, that certificate is 17 credits total. You'll see on this slide numbers in parentheses next to the title of each course. Those numbers are how many credits each individual course is. When we talk about a college credit, what we're really talking about is in a given semester, so fall semesters usually run from the middle of August to the middle of December. Spring semesters typically run from the middle of January to early May. In a given semester, for a 3-credit class, you would be expected to spend about 3 hours a week in the class. And that's where we get that number of 3 credits. That doesn't include any time you might spend outside of the class studying, doing homework, preparing for the class. That's just those hours in class time. The reason I like to bring that up is because it's an important thing just to know as a college student, but it's also a good way when you're building your schedule. If you think in mind and keep in mind what that college credit means, and you put that in context of what you've got going on in your own life, whether it's work or family obligations, that can help you really determine how many classes you should take and what kind of course load you can reasonably do. So hopefully that's helpful. So again, back to the first certificate, we've got GTM 105. That's General Technologies Math. It does require a placement or prerequisite, and I will go in more detail on what a placement or a prerequisite is in just a few slides. It also requires MAC 100, which is Introduction to Machine Tool. MAC 125, which is Inspection Quality Assurance, which has a prerequisite of GTM 105 and MAC 100. CAD 117, CAD stands for Computer Aided Design. That's a print reading with CAD class. And then CAD 172, which is Geometric Dimensioning and Tolerancing, and the prerequisite to that class is CAD 117. So then we move on to the CNC Operator Certificate. Again, it includes all of the classes that I just went over in the Inspection and Quality Certificate, and it's going to add 3 additional classes. MAC 150 is our CNC Mill Programming 1 class with a prerequisite of GTM 105. MAC 155 is our CNC Mill Programming 2 class with a prerequisite of MAC 150. And MAC 160 is our CNC Lathe Programming, which has prerequisites of GTM 105 and MAC 150. Alright, now we're on to the Associate of Applied Science. Again, this includes all of the courses that I just discussed in both certificates, and then it's going to add some additional general education courses, which you'll see here on the left. That is GTW 101, which is essentially a writing or English 101 class that's been developed specifically to give the tools needed for writing in the trades and technical occupations. That requires a placement or prerequisite. You're going to have 1 Arts and Humanities and 1 Social and Behavioral Science class each that you'll need to take. You can work with an advisor to identify the classes those are, or when you're searching for classes, and we're going to show you a video on how to do that, you can add that attribute to have it show you classes in that field. And then there's a 1 credit Student Success and Career Planning class called STU 100 that you'll take. The additional core and support classes over here on the right that the associate's degree adds are MAC 110, which is our Manual Machine Shop class. It has a prerequisite of MAC 100 or concurrent enrollment. And again, I'll go over prerequisites, co-requisites, and placements in just a bit. And then we add MAC 130, which is our setup and fixture making with a prerequisite of MAC 110. MAC 257, which is a computer-aided machining or CAM 1 class, which is a prerequisite of MAC 155. And then we have our CAM 2 class, MAC 258, our CAM 3 class, MAC 259, and then we have an Applied Metallurgy class, MAC 275, which does have the math class for the degree GTM 105 as a prerequisite. Alright, I mentioned several times I was going to go in a little more detail about what a prerequisite and a placement is. So a prerequisite is a course that needs to be taken before taking another course. So especially in the machine tool degree, it kind of makes sense a lot of times how that's laid out. For example, you saw there that in order to take Mill Programming 2, you needed to have already taken Mill Programming 1, which kind of makes sense. Where it can get a little more confusing sometimes is how prerequisites and placements work together. So you'll see here placements are required for math and writing classes. A placement is basically an exam that you take that gives a snapshot of a moment in time and what math or writing class you have the best chance at being successful in to start in. So you may take a placement exam and you may score where you need to take a class prior to GTM 105 in order to build your skills for it. That class would be ICS 081. So where the example here says ICS 081 is the prerequisite for GTM 105, that is true depending on what your placement test is. You could take a placement test and score right into GTM 105 and not take ICS 081. For classes within your major, more those core classes like the Mill Programming 2, those prerequisites are a lot more solid where you need to take Mill Programming 1 before you can move on. There are some options besides just a placement exam for placement, so be sure to talk to me, your advisor. I've also included contact information or the web page for the Pima testing office. If you're a very recent high school graduate and you had a high GPA, we may be able to use your high school transcripts to place you. Or you may have a course that you took at another institution that can serve as a prerequisite or a placement. We just need to do an evaluation for that. So if you have any situations like that, or you just want to know your options, feel free to reach out to me and we can go over that. I also mentioned concurrent enrollment on the other slide. You may sometimes see that as a co-requisite. That just means that you have to take the two classes during the same semester. Okay, so the next slide is a video on how to register for courses, but they're going to show you these results that you'll get, and I just want to go over and kind of break down how to read those search results. So you'll see here, number 1 points to a CRN. CRNs are really important. They're a unique identifying number for each class within a semester. So for example, Writing 101 is the example given here. Pima will offer many sections of Writing 101 each semester. The CRN is the identifier for this specific class. Next, you'll see meeting days and times. So it'll say, this is Tuesday, this class meets Tuesday and Thursday. It meets for the entire semester from August 19th to December 14th. We do have some classes that are only 8 weeks. They'll start in August and end in October, or they'll start in October and end in December. And we do have a few classes that are delayed start, which means they just start a week or two after the rest of the semester. So you do want to pay attention to those dates there. And then the last thing in that box is the times that you're expected to be in the class. Number 3 is pointing to modalities. This one says in-person. In-person is that traditional go to campus, be in the classroom at these days and times. You may also see virtual, which still has days and times that you'll be meeting, but you're meeting online primarily through Zoom. There's also hybrid, which is a mix between there will be times where you'll be in person and there'll be times where you'll be meeting virtually, always at the same days and times, and your instructor will be communicating to you when you need to be where, essentially. And then there's online, which you'll see TBA here for meets on days and weeks. They're not self-paced classes. They still do have due dates, but you don't have a specific time. So if it works better to you to be working on your coursework at 2 a.m. or 2 p.m., as long as you're getting them in before the due dates, that's fine. You'll also see seats. You'll also see status here. So this status says open. That means that there are still seats available in the class. Now for classes with prerequisites, you need to still have that prerequisite in order to be able to take one of those seats. Over here where it says seats, number 5, it'll tell you how many seats are available. That can be helpful when you're building your schedule and you see 22 of 22 available seats. Then you know that if you're kind of taking your time and you need to wait to get your work schedule or something like that, that you've got a little time. That class maybe isn't filling up super quickly. Versus if you see there's only 1 or 2 seats available, you may want to consider registering for that class to get that seat, because it may fill up before you come back to it. Similarly, once the status changes to waitlisted, it'll tell you how many waitlist seats are available. What a waitlist seat is you're essentially sitting in line, and if somebody drops that class, it'll go to the first person on the wait list and ask them if they want that seat. It'll send an email to their official Pima email. They have 24 hours to accept that seat, and if they don't, it moves on to the next person on the wait list. There's also a box here that says if approval is needed. There are very few classes that you'll take in the machine tool program that will have that, but some classes, even with a prerequisite met, you need to get approval from the instructor to take the class. And then it'll also list in 7, if you click on info here under number 7, it'll open up a brief description of the class, and it will tell you any prerequisites or co-requisites needed for that class. So this is just a brief example of how to register. You do it on your MyPima account. You go to your Students tab, you go to Register and Pay. You'll see a list here. You want to click on where it says Register for Credit Classes. That'll open up a new screen where you'll click on Register for Credit Classes again. That's a very brief overview, because this next slide is a video that I'm going to play that goes into a little more detail on how to do that. So I'll go ahead and play that.
Search for and register for classes, log into your MyPima. Go to Students, To search for and register for classes, log into your MyPima. Go to Students and Register and Pay. To search for classes, click on Online Class Schedule and scroll down. Make sure you have the correct term and location. For Fall 2020, most classes will either be virtual or online. You can scroll or type in your code. For this example, we'll be doing STU 100. There are additional search criteria you can use to narrow down your search, and click Search. Scroll down to find a class that meets during a day and time that is interesting to you. Please note you will need the CRN number to register for the class, so please write it down. Notice the day, the dates, and the time. If your class is showing as virtual, it means you will be meeting with your professor and other students at that time virtually. If the class is listed as online, it is asynchronous and you will not need to meet at specific times. Make sure the class is open and that there are seats available. Come back to your MyPima and click on New Registration System and register for classes. Make sure your semester is correct and continue. There is a search function within this system, but is not as robust as the one we just showed you, so it is not recommended. Click on Enter CRNs. Enter the CRNs that you have written down and add to summary. You will see the course populate in the lower right-hand corner. When you have listed all of your courses, select Submit to register for the course, and you will see a status here. If there are any errors, you will see these here. If you want to drop a course, follow the directions, come to this list, select Drop, and Submit. You'll see the status is dropped.
Alrighty, so hopefully that video and this presentation in general gave you some great tools and so you know how to register yourself. Again, don't ever hesitate to reach out to your program advisor if you need help with any of this. This slide has some information on what you want to do after you register. So again, staying on MyPima, you can go to your Academics tab to view your schedule, make sure that looks correct, and see your book list. You also want to make sure you're meeting your tuition payment deadlines. If you're on financial aid, you can check your financial aid status on the financial aid tab. If you're using veterans benefits, you can check that on the veterans tab. If you're paying out of pocket, you will want to go to the Register and Pay tab to the My Account Manager and pay your tuition as soon as possible. If you're paying out of pocket, you could be dropped from classes for non-payment, so you want to make sure you're taking care of that. If you don't have all of the money readily available, you can reach out to the Student Accounts Office at Pima and get on a payment plan, which will hold your registration but make it so you don't have to pay for everything right away. Always be checking your MyPima email for important PCC information. I mentioned that for those hybrid classes, instructors are going to send information on where to meet to that. Your advisor is going to send stuff to that Pima email. You can access it through MyPima. It is a Gmail, so if you have the Gmail app on your phone, you can add it to your phone. All official communications from Pima are going to be going there, and you don't want to miss something important. If you're on a wait list for a class, that email to tell you that a seat came available for you goes to your Pima email, and you only have 24 hours to see it and accept the seat. So if you're not checking every day, you can see where you can really lose out. You can find additional video tutorials like the one I played on the PCC website using this link to navigating digital spaces. Also, make sure that you're aware of the drop and withdrawal deadlines. Dropping a class you have to do either before the class starts or very soon after it starts. The deadline is really quick, and that essentially makes it like you were never in the class. Withdrawing, the deadline is much further into the semester, but it has much more effect, where you do get an official grade of W that will be on your transcript forever, and it can affect your completion rate, which can in turn affect your financial aid eligibility. So you want to know what those dates are. You can see them on MyPima, and you can also talk to your advisor about them. Okay, just some important reminders. especially when working with an advisor, become knowledgeable about college programs, deadlines, and policies, or know what you don't know and come ready to ask the advisor that question. Also, know what your personal values and goals are, because that's what we base advising discussions are. It's about what your goals are, and my job is to help you build a plan that can help you complete the Pima part of meeting that goal. Keep personal records of your progress. I always recommend, if you submit an assignment, try to keep a copy of it. Also, your course syllabuses. Some other schools or employers will want to see those in the future, so keep a copy of those if you're able to. Come to your appointments with advisors with questions and materials for discussion. Enroll in the classes that are listed in your My Degree Plan and that you and your advisor have discussed. And then, of course, accept responsibility for your academic planning decisions. And then I have responsibilities as well. It's my job to provide academic support to you, to ensure that you can graduate. It's my job to communicate the college's curriculum, the requirements, the deadlines, the policies, and the procedures. Not just communicate them to you, but communicate them in time so that they're useful to you. To assist you with creating an educational plan that aligns with your academic interest, to guide your decision making so advisors advise, you make the decisions as the student, and to provide you information on strategies for how to use those college resources, and to be just responsive and listening and encouraging of you when you're having challenges. Most students will have some level of challenge during the time that they're earning their degree, and that's to be expected. Education is about sort of expanding and challenging yourself. So I'm going to play another video for a great resource. This is called Pima Connect. I gave you my contact information at the beginning, but this is an even almost better way to get in touch with me. You can use this to view my calendar and make an appointment and just know that we're both seeing the appointment. So it's a really great tool for that. It's called Pima Connect. I'm going to go ahead and play this video too so you can see how to utilize that.
Hey Aztecs! Congratulations! You're more than halfway through the semester. At this point, you're probably asking questions like, what classes do I need for next semester? How and when can I register? Who can I talk to about my program? When can I graduate? How do I ask for help? To make things easier for you, we present, wait for it, Pima Connection. This powerful tool will allow you to schedule an appointment with me, receive important updates and advising notes, communicate with your success network, connect with other college resources. Go to My Pima, click Students, then Academics, then Pima Connection, and get started. Don't miss out. Visit Pima Connection now.
Created using Powtoon.
Alrighty, so this brings us to the end of the presentation. This is my favorite slide, not just because I have the least to say, but because getting students towards graduation is my favorite part of the job. As you see, you could do 3 graduations in the machine tool program, because there are those 3 degrees that you could earn, 2 certificates, and the Associate of Applied Science. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I look forward to working with each of you. Thank you.